Shalom, shalom. Today we have Friday, the 3rd of June. Tonight we go into Shabbat, Bamidbar. And tomorrow we go into the festival of Shavuot. And a lot of people think it's only about cheesecake. A lot of people think it's only about cheesecake. I checked with Israel Today, Israel Heute. You know, Avi Schneider from his Telegram channel, I mean, this is literally what he said, you know. Unterhaltsame Fakten über Shavuot in Israel. Ne? So they said, the festival comes without announcement, and you celebrate it by eating cheesecake. Okay, so eating cheesecake. So this is from Israel Today. So now, the festival of Shavuot, of course, is the festival of the first fruits. It's the first fruits. And we are now in a time I started to, you know, prepare various writings and articles and stuff not for Rabbi Feld in Jerusalem. Now, I would like to point out that on Yom HaShoah, Isaac Herzog, President of Israel, he proclaimed that Ezekiel 37, the vision of the dry bones, you know, is fulfilled. Meaning the dead Israelites came out of their grave. Now, we just celebrated Jerusalem 55, so we are in 55 years in Jerusalem, which is an absolutely miraculous time. So now it is said in Exodus 23:17, of course, 3 times a year, all the men are to appear before the sovereign Lord in Jerusalem. Now, for the last 7 years, I was not able to come due to various issues. And actually, I wanted to come on the 2nd of September 2015 and was held up at the border because of my shofar. You know, I started counting and blowing the shofar. And several people in Jerusalem didn't want me to come. Yeah, so I was rejected at the border and had to leave Israel on the 3rd of September. On the 4th of September, the borders of Germany went open and we had a flood of incoming Syrian refugees. Wow. On the 7th of September, here we have, this is the announcement from Rabbi Feld. It's a complete, it was a whole page ad in the Jerusalem Post. There cannot be Israel without Joseph. Now, on the 7th of September, it says here, Israel hopes lost tribes can boost Jewish numbers. Global research, 7th September 2015. A government committee established last month will determine whether immigration rights should be extended to groups with ties to the Jewish people. That would include so-called lost tribes, remote communities in India, Latin America and elsewhere that claim their ancestors were once Jewish. So, now, currently there are a lot of guys from Manasseh coming in, like it's like this remote Indian tribe, Manasseh. While we said, okay, we are from Ephraim. We're from Ephraim. Now, and because of this whole thing with the first fruits, I will continue now, go with you through some issues here. So first of all, Yair Davidi, in one of his latest videos, made some comments on Zechariah 8. So he was reading in Zechariah 8, and I would like to start with this. So now I have determined to go to do good again to Jerusalem and Judah. So now this is a message directly to Jerusalem and Judah. Do not be afraid. These are the things you are to do. You have to do them. Speak the truth to each other. Render true and sound judgments in your courts. Do not plot evil against each other. And do not love to swear falsely. I hate all this, declares the Lord. So when we are taking a look at this, so speak the truth to each other. So I came 7 years ago and said, guys, I'm sorry, Ephraim. You know, and everybody said, now Ulf, you're crazy, you know, Jesus is coming back, and so on and so on. And now for the last 7 years, I followed up the Torah, and this is what it says here. No? I have assigned you the same number of days as the years of their sin. So for 390 days you will bear the sin of the people of Israel. After you have finished this, lie down again, this time on your right side, and bear the sin of the people of Judah. I have assigned you 40 days, a day for each year. So what we have with the counting of Shavuot, the festivals of the first fruit, so we have in the overall counting, we had this in 2 weeks ago in the parasha, Behar. Count 7 Sabbath years, 7 times 7 years, so that the 7 Sabbath years amount to a period of 49 years. Then sound the trumpet everywhere in the 10th of the day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement, sound the trumpet throughout your land. Consecrate the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land to all its inhabitants. It shall be a jubilee for you. Each of you is to return to your family property and to your own clan. So, Shavuot 2015 was my birthday, 25/5/2015. It was the birthday of King David, no? And it was I turned 48. I turned 48, and already then I figured out, okay, this whole thing with the first. Why is this so important with the first fruit? So God Himself says, you know, sanctify unto me all the firstborn. Whatsoever opens the womb amongst the children of Israel, both of man and beast, it is mine. It is mine. In Exodus, now that's in Exodus 13:2. Now in Numbers 3:13, which is now part of the parasha we are reading tomorrow, yeah, because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed, I sanctify unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am the Lord. So the firstborn in the house does not belong to the state, does not belong to the wife, does not belong to the International Christian Embassy, does not belong to the state of Israel, does not belong to the Vatican. The firstborn belongs to God Himself. Now, Jeremiah 31:9, I think it's pretty clear that Ephraim is the firstborn and God Himself took care of me. What can I say? Yeah. So we have now the whole issue with the Shavuot is the festival of the first fruits. Yeah. So I repeatedly said, yeah, on the day I was born, 25/5/67, the Mount Zion was not taken. Jerusalem was not part of the state of Israel. It wasn't. It was still occupied by Jordan on this day. And on Mount Zion, there was a wall going over. So David's harp outside Mount Zion, you know, with Arik Pelzik, this building was unoccupied. There was a fence going through there and nobody could step over to the other side. Nobody could go to the western wall. Nobody was able to go into the old city. It was not possible on the 25th of May 1967. So only after the 6-day war, then on the 7th of June, the Temple Mount, Mount Zion, and so on, and they were captured by the IDF and then basically united with the state of Israel. And back then, it was on the 14th of June that we had the first festival of Shavuot after 1,897 years of diaspora. 1,897 years. Now, in this moment, I think everybody understands. So everything what was born between Passa 1967, 24th of April 1967. This was a blood moon Passa and the birthday of my dad actually. So between Passa 1967 and Shavuot 1967, okay, everything, every male which was born belongs to God. These are the first, literally the first fruits of Zion. And as we know that all over scripture, these first fruits, the children of Israel are compared to trees, to sheep or to seeds, to a seed. Yeah, and we have this in Hosea, what we read in the Haftarah, okay, that God takes Israel and sows it into the earth, yeah, which happened 2,700, approximately 2,750 years ago, when God sent Isaiah to Ephraim and says, okay, Ephraim won't be a people anymore in 65 years. He will be cut off. And then the Assyrians came in the first Ephraimite Assyrian war and cast out the children of Israel from the northern kingdom of Israel into the world for 2,730 years, up to 1996. Okay? Now, this is in the connection because after 390 years, Ephraim did not repent, and so the penalty was 7 times worse. So 2,730 years of overall punishment. So the punishment which started about 734 before our time, our common era, plus 2,730 years brings us to the year 1996. So on about the 3rd January 1996, I entered Israel, met all you guys, and then left Israel with 40, like in Acts 1. So I am indeed one of these first fruits the Lord called from the ends of the earth to live in Jerusalem, to have my children there, to have my life there, the center of my life, make my company there, and from Jerusalem out, spread the Torah and of course the message of what the Lord is doing in Jerusalem all over the world. So this was the start, and then 7 years I was cut off, and 2015 I came back onto the scene after the Lord resurrected me again, and it said, okay, now. So now, we are now at a time, so I started, now 25/5/2007, I turned 40. So 25/5/2014, on my 47th birthday, the Pope visited Jerusalem and the EU voted. So guys, this is a major issues for the last 7 years. I try to tell you, people say, where's the Antichrist? I say, guys, the guy is now in a wheelchair, you wouldn't recognize who the guy would be, even if you carry him in a wheelchair before you. It's the same with the Messiah, People are not, they cannot grasp that this guy is the Antichrist. They cannot grasp it because he's such a nice, he's the Holy Father. Yeah, so they cannot grasp this. Yeah, they cannot grasp this. So, but he came to Jerusalem on my birthday, 47. Why 47? Because Acts 1 says that the firstborn from the dead will leave Jerusalem with 40. Yeah, and then he will be cut off for 7 years. It's written in Daniel 4. So they pre-calculated this time and came on my 47th birthday to Jerusalem and started what is called the Abomination of Desolation. So he sits with 10 Jesuit magazines in brilliant. So I came back on the 48. 2015, I informed everybody. So then with 50, everything should have been over. On 25/5/2017, there was Christ Ascension Day. But instead me coming to Jerusalem, Donald Trump came a couple of days before. No, Barack Obama is sent to Berlin, and puts up some shadow presidency. All the coup guys. If you know anybody who's with coup, we have all these coup posts about the shadow presidency of Obama. Yeah, exactly. So Obama was the president, who put in Pope Francis, put him into power. Well, we didn't know this, of course, then, but now, slowly, everything is proven, everything came out. So 1 year later, 25/5/2018, we had the data protection law. Now this was 11 days after the embassy opened up in Arnona. Now this is like the place literally where 50 meters from there my daughter was born, the daughter of Zion. So then we had on the 25/5/2020, 53, George Floyd is killed and all kinds of stuff happens. Yeah? So all the attention was on George Floyd. So then on 25/5/2000, very important, when this whole George Floyd happened, all these Black Lives Matter guys came out, and started burning down Washington DC and Seattle and whatnot, and started the Summer of Love. And Donald Trump went out with the Bible out in front of St. John's Church. Now this is exactly 2 years ago. So he went on the 1st of June, he went out with the Bible. The Bible. What, Mr. President, is this your Bible? No, it's a Bible. It's a Bible. So he took a Bible. Why? Why just a random Bible? Because in every random Bible the same is written. Every random Bible will say in Jeremiah 31:9, Ephraim is the firstborn son of God. Yeah, and so these are the things you should do. Speak truth to each other. So how did this work out with Trump and speaking truth about Trump? I think not very good. So how was this thing with the speak true and sound judgment in your court? We just had the Michael Sussman fight. It's true and sound judgment. We had like various rulings by the Israeli High Court of Justice. We had now various issues in Germany and so on and so on. Now the courts are bored. The courts are bored. There are political courts in them. You do not get sound judgment there anymore. So do not plot evil against each other. So did or did not Hillary Clinton and all their cronies and Obama, did they plot evil against the sitting president of the United States of America? Yes or no? Yes. They plotted evil. Now it's not only that I was victim of some evil plots. No, the president of the United States of America. Think about this. Yeah. Do not love to swear falsely. I mean, what was this? Lying to the FBI? I mean, Adam Schiff in Congress read some absolutely bullshit about a transcript which didn't exist. They love to swear falsely. All the left Democrats, the Build Back Better crowd, and so on and so on and so on. Now this is now 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Now on the 2nd of June, which happened to be now yesterday, the 70th anniversary of Queen Elizabeth, and I already calculated this. So, like everything, so these are 70 years Queen Elizabeth. 2nd of June 52 to 22 are 25,567 days. It's my birthday. 25,567, it's my birthday. So all the 70 years, all 70 years are 25,567 days. I mean, think about this. But this is 2 years ago now. 2 years ago, Donald Trump made the executive order on advancing international religious freedom. And then later on here, Executive Order 13/9/29. So we put this, I suggest everybody buys one of these beautiful booklets. We have right now a special on Zion5777.com, or you can have like the all-inclusive download package where you can get all our books for $97 on torahclub.com. Thank you so much. So anyhow, so in this advancing international religious freedom, so the government of the United States of America wants to spend at least $50 million per fiscal year for programs that advance international religious freedom. Super. Now, to the extent $1. So now you understand now currently. So there is like these two types of people. The one type of people, they stick to the Torah, like me. You know, they do not bow down. They don't bow down to the beast. They don't do that. I only bow down to God. That's it. Every rules. So, anyhow, so this was 53, 2 years ago. So we see how this develops, and you can see how the Democrats and so on, and the left media guys, so how they go against Zechariah 8. Unbelievable. So now we have on 25/5/2021. Now this is 7 years now from the Pope's visit. So Ronald Lauder and David Rothschild were confirmed as leaders from the World Jewish Congress. I thought that's pretty nice. And actually David Harris, he was also in Jerusalem. David Harris, CEO from the American Jewish Committee. He just got the Order of Merit today. You know, happy birthday. Now, congratulations to David Harris. You know, he just received the highest honor of Germany somehow, the Order of Merit. And Ronald Lauder actually received from Macrönchen, this frog leg eater, you know, from the Frenchman, the little guy. Macron. Okay, he received from the Foreign Legion, he received also merit. So Macrönchen, of course, he worked for David Rothschild for several years. Never mind. So anyhow, on the 25th of May, 2022, so I turned now 55, 7 years are over. We have now here Isaac Herzog at the World Economic Forum. Yeah, this is 25th of May. So, very important, Genesis 25:5. No? Abraham gives everything what he has to Isaac. Okay, this is the first one. So in order to secure a safe future for everyone in the Middle East, for everyone. And not for Yogi anymore, he has to leave the Middle East, but definitely for Avi, you know, for Yair Davidi, for all my friends, you know, on Ben Yehuda. It doesn't matter if it's Yossi Ben Sakai, if it's Zek in the Old City, you know, guys from Kusari, and, you know, Yair Emmanuel, you know, the artist who makes like Judaica. All my guys in Jerusalem, they should have peace. They should have peace. No? So we must outline a nuanced, multifaceted approach incorporating geopolitical, climatic, and social needs. So think about this. We have to incorporate geopolitical, climate, and social needs. Geopolitical needs. Now the geopolitical needs, is of course great is the day of Israel, when all the children of Israel are brought up out of the nation. This is a geopolitical issue. They're brought out of the nation into the land of Israel. Yeah? So this is a geopolitical issue, and there is a social need for that. Yeah? How this looks with the climate, I think climate is like total bullshit. There is weather, and the rest is just pure evil business. So Israel thus remains fully committed to freedom of religion and worship, and to deep respect towards all faith. I thought, okay, it cannot be clearer. All faith means, of course, also Ephraim, everything what we discussed over the last years, everything what is happening with Kol HaTur, all the people I contacted over the last 7 years. Now, we who believe in the fulfillment of the Torah and in the Bible and the prophets of Israel. Now, Itzik just said that the dead rose. Yeah? And I tell you this now for the last 7 years. So now Shavuot is the festival of the first fruits. We're already over. We already counted 7 times 7 years. It's already over. It's 50. Now we're at 55. And because people did not listen, well, things got a bit out of hand, where I think we can work this out, add a nice piece of cheesecake. Yeah? I think that doesn't have to be very stressful. There are some funny guys here. We have here, for example, now we have Moshiach News Global. You know, they're very people. You know, they are really into it to find out what's with the Sanhedrin. So here's Rabbi Erderi from the Chabad. So there are quite a number of people. What are you inflation? Then of course we have the whole inflation issue. The inflation issue. Of course, is sold via our temple coin. Yeah. So you can also think about this. So this is these are 30 coins, which are of course you know, the amount of coins I received, you know, after the separation of Israel and Judah from Zechariah 11. Zechariah 11, it says, you know, there's 30 silver pieces. Now, Joseph was sold for 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So Joseph was sold for 40 silver. For 20 shekels of silver. Jesus for 30 from Judah. So these are, you know, 25 and 5 pieces. So in any case, so this is how we fight inflation. Because there is a price list. We see this when you register. It's, you know, on when we are coming to Bamidbar, you have to register. And God has this also a bookkeeping. You know, because he says, okay, all the firstborn are mine, and when they are born, they have to be, you know, liberated with silver. So there is a pretty, you know, regular price list for the temple, what the priests are getting, and so on and so on. And so this is the standard, I think, okay, we can use. So we, the whole inflation issue, this will be always the same prices. No? So what happens with the US dollar is that the US dollar is created through debt. And we know this whole thing from JP Morgan. You know, only gold and silver is money, everything else is credit. And of course, we have to solve this after 50 years, you know, count 7 times 7 years. So we should have a Sabbath, you know, like a Jubilee year, where all the debts are forgiven. All the debts. All. Now, of course, we had this already, you know, This is why we said, okay, we need a new deal, a new covenant. And when is this new covenant, you know, we started to come out shortly before 51. On the 1st of May 2018, we said, okay, we need a new covenant exactly as it is written in the Bible. Yeah. Now, this new covenant includes that, and this is one of our goals, was to really create a absolutely forgiving of debt and a complete new ordering of the financial system. Yeah. So of course this only somehow, I believe, only works together, of course, with the US government, you know, with the Fed and with the Rothschilds. Yeah. And but this is actually what Leviticus 25 says, you know, that we should go out, you know, we should count the years, and then we go out with the shofar, and then we forgive all debts, we release all the prisoners, and then we go back and come back to our possession. Now, because nobody wanted to do this, now the great reset is right before you. Yeah? So I think that, you know, I mean, I said that we should do this already like 2017. I thought, we were over with this for the Jubilee year. So everybody missed this. Nobody took a look at the firstborn. Nobody listened to what he said, and so on and so on. So now we are in a fourth great reset. So the fourth great reset is so either, okay, you stay like totally, absolutely, completely blind. You will go through the absolute reset of the World Economic Forum. You will own nothing anymore. Nothing. They want to take you everything. So this is the only option. So either you stay with the World Economic Forum, or you register with Ephraim. Because this is what the president of Israel said. We have freedom of religion, of all faith. So how about the Jewish original faith and say, okay, let's do a Jubilee year. Okay, so because you already missed my birthday, I'm fed up anyhow. So we now have again to, Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur to finalize this, And after what the government says and, what is published already, okay, you only have to follow the rule of law, like Donald Trump says, follow the rule of law, but not the rules of the Democrats or the socialists or the left or the permanent changing up. No, the rules and laws and regulation of the Torah. So at this point, I think I want to bring this out. This was the hardest thing, Avi asked me how I am, and I said I'm exhausted after now 7 years constant. So how did this all started? I put, to Deuteronomy 13, 6-8, I put names. I altered it a bit. If your very own brother, or your son Daniel Philippus, or your daughter Naomi Esther, or the wife Senite you love, or your closest friend Dr. Jürgen Bühler, secretly entices you, saying, let us go and worship Jesus, the other three gods, Trinity gods that neither you nor your ancestors have known, gods of the people around you, whether near or far, from one end of the land to the other. Do not yield to them or listen to them. Show them no pity. Do not spare them or shield them. Rabbi Feld knows this. I mean, I put this out again and again. This is why I went out the way how I went out as Ephraim priest of the Order of Melchizedek. Because Dr. Jürgen Bühler from the International Christian Embassy, president in Jerusalem, he basically killed Ephraim in 2011. He says, no, Ephraim doesn't exist anymore. He published this worldwide. And when I told him in secret something, well, he, basically completely told me. He said, yes, because you did not worship Jesus as God. And only when you do this, then you will better. So he enticed me secretly to worship a God our fathers did not know. So he is literally the false prophet from Revelation. Now the problem is, within our current justice system, where there is no true and sound judgment in your courts, nobody gives a red ass, to say this very flat out. I mean, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about some dude in Jerusalem who tells another dude that he has to worship Jesus? I mean, who cares? Who cares? Now, for Israel, now the solution to this question is the most important issue at all. Okay, because Orthodox Jews, they know Jesus is not coming back anymore. He is not. And when you take a look in the book of Revelation, it says several times that the firstborn from the dead will have a new name. So he has the birth name, and then he has another name from the Old Testament. Now that name is Ephraim. And, based on whatever I, measured, we have to count. Now these are my counts. from my birthday, so 70 years Israel, like Queen at 25,000. So that's my birthday. And here are the major steps over the years to 55. And you can count on the days. So in time, on my birthday, 25, 67, there were the two most extreme positions. On the one side, you had the Roman Catholic Church, who defined Jesus as God and whatnot, and had this, locked up the scripture. On the other side, you have Orthodox Judaism. Orthodox Judaism, who does not believe in Jesus, who rejects the New Testament, who will not discuss anything, except Torah. Now, to that extreme, some of my Jewish brethren, they never shared their Torah to anybody outside of Israel. They only speak Hebrew. They never saw. Now, these were the two most extreme positions on the second day, Pesach Sheni 67, on Corpus Christi, on a day the church called Eucharisticum Mysterium, on my birthday. So these were the two most extreme positions. And because the Pope made a law, so by 51 we have the data protection law, the paid data protection. The data protection law of the EU came on my 51st birthday. So we have to see that according to the accounting of God, well, I'm one of the first fruits, so I belong to God. Now, on the other hand, now there is an accounting by the Romans, because as we read, since Jesus, every person born somewhere in the world, he is put into a tax list, So between the 25th, between my birthday and 51, data protection law, was already impossible. Israel was 70 years old, the embassy of the United States was finished, and all the major important dates within the Bible were already passed. No? So it is only possible for a human to be born on this day till 51. It's only possible for one human to hit not only these days, but every date what's written in the Bible. With kids, with family. Then we have to see from 40 years, the 40 years, 74 years, then we have 30 years coming into the land. 30 was a year when Joseph was put on his throne. 30 was, King David was 30 when he became king in Hebron. So Jesus was 30 when he started to walk around in the land. And we have also 1997 is 30 years of Israel. So there also happened stuff. So we have 33 years of Israel, the year 2000, Jerusalem. We have 33 years Jerusalem in the year 2000. So a lot of these major dates happened. So when it says that out of Bethlehem Ephrata, there will be, the ruler comes from the past time. So this is from the beginning of the earth. God created the heaven and the earth. And the Spirit of God was moving over the water, the deep of the water. So the Spirit of God created this whole timeline up to today, up to my birthday. And so this is the error. From this two position, Ephraim is the one who makes the two become one. Jew and Gentile, German and Israelis, Jews and Christians, and so on and so on. In Ephraim. So now, I think it is pretty obvious that, so there is this third calculation. So God had this calculation, okay, what's with my firstborn? He sits now. So the Romans had their calculation, okay, when is tax day, when is tax day, when is tax day? And I, of course, also had my calculation, So when I have birthday, of course, I look around and say, okay, I had some issues planned. Now I just got an update 5.5. What's the issue here? So what needs to be done? What needs to be fixed? And then I said, wow, this is pretty cool. The issue with, why? Because I said this again and again. I love this. You know, I pull this now complete out again and again. You know, I invite you all to go to my website, of course, you know, Zion Elite Biz. There is an absolutely super duper blog where you find like more information than you can handle, also with videos. Now we have here the, so 1 second, checker. So what article was this? Eigentum im Erbrecht, da ist es Happy Pride Day, never Dr. Clinton, 70, I think this is here. So here's Ronald Lauder, we put this out, who just get this thing. So, okay, Avi, I'm sorry that I put you out. Sorry, Avi, I love you, Avi. I'm sorry that I put this out, but hey, this has to be clear. So this is what it says here, okay? At the time, as you were in Israel, you did not abide Jesus as God. So he believes in Jesus as God, and I could not do this. It was impossible, so I cut it all, and so on and so on. Yeah? And of course now, so this is the German link. Okay, now Dr. Jürgen Bühler is around with Yair Netanyahu and so on, all these guys. And so the story goes since November 2000. So it's quite some time. Yeah, and definitely, you know, for all Christians, let me be sure, where 2 or 3 are together in my name, I'm in the middle of them. You think you get out of this? So, now, kannst du das mal so ein bisschen weiter? So. So this email is from Michael J. Salomon, 8th of August 2016. So he is directly involved with Hillary, and the 9th of August 2016, you know, came up in the Sussman case, right? So people always ask, okay, so here's the shadow president for my 50th birthday, and so on. So this is now Donald 2 years ago. This Donald 2 years ago. And this is Yogi and Itzik. Yeah. So now I told you everything, and I said, okay, just what should I do? You know, what should I do? I want to come, and I already told you without an invitation, no, to clear this thing up, no, I'm not coming. So either invite extremely hyper officially or make a sign up on Zion5777.com. Thank you.